Hi, I'm Christina Applegate.
And I'm Jamie-Lynn Sigler.
And this is
Messy. The following message is brought to you by Novartis. Since partnering with Novartis, I have been thinking a lot about when I was first diagnosed with relapsing MS. And to be honest, I was overwhelmed and in denial, and I didn't want to accept it. Eventually, I had to be real with myself, reflect on what was important, reframe how my diagnosis was impacting my life, and focus on how I was feeling. And I wish I'd started thinking about my needs sooner. It helped me get to a place of acceptance and find the right treatment choice for me. And I really hope others don't wait as long as I did. That's why I partnered with Novartis to create a 3-step guide, hoping it can help people speak up and voice their needs. Get the guide at reframingms.com.
Messy is supported by Cionic.
The Cionic Neural Sleeve is the first FDA-cleared bionic clothing designed to help people living with MS and other neurological conditions improve walking and strength.
For people living with MS, staying mobile and active is an essential part of managing MS symptoms. So the neural sleeve looks and feels like a garment instead of an assisted device. And it's sleek enough to fit under your clothing.
Yeah, it's really cool. I love using my Cionic. So the system basically analyzes every step you take. You even see your little skeleton and how it's moving in the app as you're walking. And it sends electrical pulses directly to the 4 major muscle groups of your legs. So your quad, your hamstring, your shin, and your calf, and helps you improve your walking in real time. It also is an award-winning device. It was named one of Time's best inventions of 2023. And listen to this. In their first multi-site research study, 94% of participants improved their walking. When I signed up to use the sleeve, it was super easy to use and customize through the Cionic app. I met face-to-face over the app with somebody from the Cionic mobility team, and we sort of figured out what muscle groups needed to fire more, how many pulses, how much strength, and we personalized it to my settings and helped me track my progress. And listen, the best part is you pay as you go. So if the neural sleeve isn't working for you, you can cancel anytime for any reason.
All right. We're so excited to share that Messy listeners can get $50 off by entering the code MESSY, which is MESSY, during checkout. To learn more, visit cionic.com/messy. That's CIONIC.com/messy. Hello, I'm Christina, and this is Jamie-Lynn.
Hi.
Hi, my friend with MS. And welcome to Messy. Today, our guest is kind of everything to us, everything to me, someone I've known since 1994. He is the founder and CEO of the Agape International Spiritual Center. He is my teacher. He is my friend. He's my go-to. And sometimes I should go to him more. Please, to our listeners, welcome the incomparable, the ever-loving, the ever-funny, incredible, lives above the earth man, Reverend Michael Bernard Beckwith. Hi, my darling.
Hey, Christina Applegate. We've known each other for so long. I'm so glad to be with you. I'm so glad to see what you and Jamie are doing. It's powerful. Thank you for the invitation to be with you both.
Oh, if we could have you on every day, that would be... I think we just need you to call us every day because we need you so badly right now. And I think, I don't know if you know too much about what we do, but, we are both have multiple sclerosis. And I know that's a name and it's not a sentence. And I know, but that's, we're kind of in that space sometimes. But
right.
Our listeners are anyone who has a chronic illness or an autoimmune, to everyone, to just people going through life's shit. And sorry, I cuss a lot on here. So you're going to have to take your virgin ears, put your hands over, earmuffs them.
I've been on the planet for a little while now. I think.
Yeah, I know.
I've heard a few of those words.
Okay, I think you've said a few, in private.
I think I have.
Yeah, but anyway, yeah. So we're here just trying to let people feel seen and heard and loved, and that we're trying to give a big warm hug. But yet sometimes we fall into the negative, and I think that's where I think Jamie said this was Christmas to her. So Jamie, why don't you? This was having you on today is Christmas.
Oh, that's beautiful.
Yes. Because I think so. like Christina said, we both live with MS. I've lived with it for 22 years, and I feel like it's been my greatest catalyst and gift of my personal growth. It's led me down paths that I am forever grateful for. With that being said, I've found that I've been able to really accept spirituality into my life, but learning how to accept it and understand how to apply it when it comes to living with a chronic illness continues to be a struggle for me. I'm trying to fully accept my circumstances each and every day, but trying to understand how do I do that, but then and detach myself from all of the stories that I've created of why I have this and accept possibly some healing, if that makes sense.
Oh, all of it makes sense. You said something very powerful in terms of it's been a catalyst for you to go deeper into your spiritual nature. And, with any chronic illness, whatever the label is, there is a gift trying to come out of it. The universe is progressive. The presence is everywhere. So there is something that's trying to be born. So as you continue to live in that awareness of, okay, this was a catalyst for me to grow spiritually. And then asking the question, how can I keep applying that what you just said to this condition, then healing happens. And healing can be, first of all healings aren't just physical. Yeah. There's healings of the emotional body. There's healings in consciousness that then precede a healing of the body temple. But when you said what you just said, that's very powerful. That's taking you out of living as a victim and more or less more living you as, you know what, this condition is here. I have to accept it. I can't go into wishful thinking. I can't go into I wish I would have, could have. I can't go into what did I do to cause this? I can't go into any of that. The condition is here. So since the condition is here, that's your baseline for growth. And there's a gift there that as you receive this gift, who knows what will change in the body temple? I've seen healings of MS. I've seen healings of cancer. I've seen healings of all kinds of dilemmas that people go through, but it doesn't yield its gift until we apply what you just said. It's a catalyst for my growth.
And I was going to say, Rev, you've been with me I've been whatever. We've been together as friends for a gajillion years, but when I had cancer in 2008, I ran to you. I ran to my spirituality, and then I ran away from it. Right. And what
I had to chase you down.
Yes, you had to chase me down. Then I get MS, and I'm like Forrest Gumping this stuff. I'm like, how fast can I run away from what I know will help me? Not, I can't get into an idea of, I don't know. I can only do this much of how do I find my peace? Because I have run so far away. When was the last time I was actually in Agape?
I was going to call you and say, we're sitting in a car for you.
Well, I have to have a bigger chair. I can't sit in those chairs. Like, it hurts. And then I get annoyed, and I don't want to be annoyed.
Right.
And we had another thing that we don't talk about why I didn't go for a long time too, which that's our private conversations.
Can you tell our listeners that don't know about Agape? Of just about it, what it is.
Sure, I'll share, and then Christina can share her own experience. But it is a spiritual community for all people that is based in the deep metaphysical and mystical teachings that are found in every religion. And we seek to practice them, not merely have it as a belief system, but really practice the teachings at a very profound and deep level. When I started Agape, I'm the founder, so Agape is in its 38th year now. And we wanted to be an example of the possibility of how the world could look. We didn't want to just be academic talking about how the world can look, what the beloved community looks like. We wanted to actually be it. And so obviously we're all imperfect human beings seeking to allow that which is perfect to come through us. So through meditation, life visioning, spiritual practices, sacred service, classes through our university, and all manner of different ministries, we are a spiritual community that's heaven bent on people waking up to their glorious nature. And so I say agape is one, a healing field. People come in to heal their wounds, whether they be emotional, mental, psychological, etc. And then it becomes a vision field where people begin to learn to articulate their vision for their life, their dreams, their hopes. And then it becomes a birthing field, a condition where people can actually birth their visions. And we've had a lot of people emerge from agape that are doing extraordinary things in the world, but they got the energy and the vision and the support from being in the community. Then they've gone out and done great things. So that's a short version of agape. It's a dynamic, beautiful spiritual community that's continuing to grow. Yeah.
And I've only been once, and I told you really briefly before we got on that I was taken there by my dear friend Ryan Weiss. And after one experience and one Sunday, I think we went, I was so completely moved and inspired of the energy that I felt, the possibility that I felt, everything that you were just saying, that it's there for people to understand and practice. I ran to the tattoo shop, and that's when I got in. So it is tattooed on my inner wrist. So, I'm sure Christina can speak much more intimately and better about her experience with agape, but I just only had one and felt the tremendous power. So yeah,
I have agape tattooed on my ankle. And remember I showed you, Michael, like 30 years ago, I was like, I got agape tattooed on my ankle. And you're like, oh man, I want to get agape tattooed somewhere. I was like, okay, well, let's go. Let's do this thing.
Yeah, all my family has all those tattoos. My daughter, she has love, trust, love, and they have everything.
I'm getting in, so it is on my foot. So that's
I'm
happening.
the last one.
You're the last one standing. Before we get too more into stuff, I think that I'd love to kind of tell the journey of how I came to agape, because I think it was something that really was the universe brought me to you. And I get very emotional about it because it really was like, it was divine.
Yeah.
It wasn't that I was seeking out a new church. I was raised in this teaching from the time I was 7 years old. My mom had me meditating. We went to this place called the Hollywood Church of Religious Science. And then we ended up at this church with a man named Dr. Dominic Palafrone. And it was such a sweet church in this masonry, space. And we're sitting there and he goes, I want you guys to, give a nice big round of applause to our visiting minister from the musical Agape Church. And everyone applauded. And I was like, probably hungover. It was like, it was like 27 years. I don't know. It's 1993. And I didn't look back. I didn't see you. I clapped. I was half asleep. And the next morning I said to my mom, Mom, this is so weird. I can't stop getting this man out of my mind. This name, Michael Beckwith. It was like, I couldn't get you out. And she goes, this is so weird. In the LA Times, there was an article about agape, and it was a picture of Ricky Bebe and the choir on the cover of the part of the LA Times that was about like community and stuff. And I went, oh my God, this is so weird. And she was going through ovarian cancer at the time. And
I remember.
Yep. And it was Easter Sunday. And I said, I'm going to go check this place out. And I brought Faustina with me. And I'm standing in the hallway because there was multiple services. That's how many people were there. And the space was so small. And I heard this song called I Release and I Let Go. And I heard people clapping, like rejoicing. And I had chills up and down all of myself. And I started crying. And I went in, and you lifted all of me up through your words, through the Spirit talking through you. And I went to the hospital with some Easter eggs for my mom and some candy. And I said, we have a new church and we're done. And don't talk to me about it. That was it. It was like, and this was 1994. And I still never knew, like, I had seen you for the very first time, like standing up there. You had a mustache. You're so cute. And back then. And that was it. And I haven't looked back. I went to classes there, took all the science mind classes, and started practitioner. And then I was like, what am I going to do as a practitioner? Nobody wants to see me. But anyway, that's kind of my journey, because it was spirit driven.
Yeah, I remember that. You became like my daughter in a sense. The vibration, the frequency. So
wow.
so much love, so much in your mom. And it was, we've been together a long time.
We've had a lot of rides together for sure.
We were on Larry King together, remember?
Oh my God. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
It was really cool. Well,
That's
he's such
beautiful.
a beautiful orator. So like, you
Yeah.
you don't need to meet. I'm going to stop talking because I want to hear Michael.
You guys are the host. You don't need to stop talking.
Well, let me ask you, to go back to kind of what Christina was just talking about and sort of where she's at in her journey.
Yes.
She is, I give her all the credit for the reason why we are doing this podcast. She felt the calling to share our intimate conversations and our unique experience, understanding how actually universal it is for anybody on this earth that is having life challenge them to grow. And I, as her friend and somebody who loves her deeply, want her to be able to find some light and hope and trust in the universe.
Yes.
And so I would love to just sort of witness listening to you see her in this moment and sort of tell me how I can help her as her friend as well.
Yes. Yes. Well, Christina, you said something very powerful. Both times when you had a diagnosis, because first of all, the prognosis, a doctor can't give you a prognosis. That's between you and your soul. But you would run away. There's a tremendous amount of anger at God, at the universe, at the teachings, or whatever the case may be. And so right away, I need to and that's why I track you down sometimes.
I know.
I'm trying to bring you back so that we actually use that anger. We use the power of that anger to take you where this particular diagnosis can take you. Anger is a very powerful emotion. You're using the anger though to stay away from what you know to be the truth, what you believe. You're mad. And so what I would say to you is that we want to use that anger and we want to tie it to a vision. We want to tie it to a dream, a goal that you have about yourself. And then I want you to angrily begin to declare and decree that particular dream. I don't want you to pretend you're all spiritual and you don't get angry. We don't do that kind of stuff. You actually use the anger to declare and decree the next level of how you want to live your life, but you do it angrily. I, Christina, am willing to, and you fill in the blank of what that is, because running away just makes you more victimized by the diagnosis, by the condition, and then you spin out into other behaviors that are lateral, that don't really help you. And so I say, be angry, but take that anger and actually declare something that you want until the anger transmutes itself into a higher emotion. So we never deny emotions. We never sublimate or bypass it. We use them, you see, and then you'll start to get underneath that. You may even get guidance, lessons, blessings, a gift from this experience. Yeah, I don't want you to avoid the gift. So if you're running from me, if you're running from Agape, if you're running, you're like avoiding a gift. You're avoiding a gift of support and love that is right here waiting for you. You see, I'll answer any more questions, but there's a lot more I could talk about here. But
I love that.
I mean, my mom, when I was a kid, always said the most unhappy metaphysician is one that's not practicing. And it's doing such a disservice because that what's on that other side if you just tap into, you tap in. And I know that I'm not going to sit here and meditate and all of a sudden, butterflies are going to come out of my butt. You know what I mean? I know that that's not going to happen right here, but it's when I feel the lowest, I do text you and I'm like, please help me. I'm feeling that. I'm sorry, I'm crying, but I feel I'm I'm drowning in this being pissed off, and yet being pissed off has also been very liberating to me too. And it's been liberating to me being honest about how I feel. But of course I don't want to feel like this all the time. Of course I don't want to wake up in the morning and be like, you know what, I'm just going to put the covers over my head again, because it's too hard to do anything more than that. And I don't want to do that, Michael. And yeah.
Right. So what I'm suggesting is that we actually use it. We use it as fuel. We just use it. Don't throw it away. So I would invite you to write down some little goals that you want. You can do a big goal if you want. You can go right to the end. Say, I want my total body to be healed, but in your mind may not be able to get there yet. So write down some little goals and then angrily affirm them. You know what I mean? And, you don't want to wake up in the morning and do these sweet little affirmations, I'm perfect and beautiful. You want to wake up and take that anger and use the anger to affirm the goal. Mm-hmm. So then the anger gets transmuted and it assists you. So instead of the anger being stuck in your body and becoming toxic, the anger gets transmuted into a higher frequency and become cleared out. And then you'll get greater answers and greater guidance and greater direction. It's called anger-backed affirmations. It's called emotionally backed affirmations is what it's called. Okay. And so, if somebody, I haven't done this in a while, but if somebody used to cut me off in the freeway or do something stupid, I take the emotion. Or here it is. Sometimes money is low. I'll say, why the hell do I always have so much money? Why? Why am I always so Why am I always so prosperous? Oh my God! So instead of complaining, I use the emotionally back affirmation to declare what I need in the moment. And then all of that power rushes to the affirmation. Because what most people do is they'll wake up. They may wake up in the morning and have a nice, sweet meditation and feel, I'm one with God, I'm one with life. And then as soon as something happens in the world, they're pissed off. I mean? Then they use all that emotion to actually create a downward spiral. So I like people to use that emotion to create an upward spiral, and then things begin to change mentally, and then they begin to change chemically in the body, and then you have more spaciousness, and you're more available to real insight from your soul. Your soul is always speaking to you. You are a living soul, and your higher self is always speaking. It's always broadcasting. But when you take the emotion and use it for some reason, you clear out the clutter, and then you're absolutely able to begin to hear what your higher self is trying to tell you. There's a gift in everything.
Why am I such a effing medical miracle?
There you go.
Yes.
There you go. Yes.
Why the burden of being the medical miracle?
You can use the F-bomb. Why is my body healing itself so beautifully? Why am I so happy? Why am I so creative during this time? Why, just create it and use it.
Why are they putting me on the cover of the medical journal for amazingness? And
listen,
I love it.
Anger vibrates a little bit higher than lethargy and sadness and depression. It's a higher frequency. Yeah. It hasn't busted into joy yet, but it's still much higher. So even when you're sad, you can just take that sadness and say, oh my God, why is everything working together for my good today? Why God? Why me? Why is everything working together? You just use all of those emotions, you see? Yeah. And then the other thing is MS, make it another name, make it put a Miracle Station or something, make something up where it has a different name. And then what you do is you don't take the label of what the medical system calls it. You just know how you feel. Okay. When your body hurts, when your body doesn't hurt, all the aches, all the stuff So instead of putting a label on it and saying it's MS, you just say, this is pain. Is your body ever in pain? Both of you?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. 24 hours for me. But
so you just say, okay, my body's in pain. Don't give it a label. And you just be with the pain. There's pain here. There's pain here. And you just let the pain be your focus of meditation. Don't try to make it go away. Don't deny it. Just, okay, you don't say, I'm in pain. Pain is here. And you just watch the pain. Now, with the mind, the pain is energy. It's moving around. The pain will start to respond to your mind watching it. And the pain will start to change. And the pain will start to change in different kind of ways, but it's not going to change and become MS. MS is the title we give this thing. It's going to do something else. It's going to start being reframed by your anger, saying that you are a medical miracle. The body will believe you. It's listening to everything you're saying.
I just wanted to take a quick break and share a word from one of MeSsy's advertisers. Since partnering with Novartis, I have been thinking a lot about when I was diagnosed with relapsing MS. I kept it a secret at first, and that robbed me of the support I really needed. I finally found the courage to open up about it and quickly learned the importance of speaking up. That means making your voice the loudest in the room. You have to find an MS specialist who's the right fit, who makes you feel seen and heard. It's kind of like dating. That's why I partnered with Novartis to create a 3-step guide to inspire others to own their RMS journeys, recognize their needs, and find a treatment that works for them. Learn more about my story at reframingms.com. Support for MeSsy comes from OneSkin.
did you know your body starts accumulating senescent cells as early as your 20s, also called zombie cells? These cells stop producing collagen and hyaluronic acid like they used to and start secreting an inflammatory substance that makes neighboring cells dysfunctional too. There's an answer for these zombie cells, though, and it comes from our friends at OneSkin. I love their sun protection duo. It's SPF 30 and feels so good on your skin. It doesn't make you feel oily or like you're going to break out. Also, the Prep Facial Cleanser is great. OneSkin topical face, eye, body, and shield can all be used with other products and easily fit into your current skincare routine.
With their in-house cutting-edge R&D platform, they're able to measure the efficacy of age reversal molecules in their lab. And by staining skin samples in the lab for senescent cells and analyzing changes to the skin's genetic data before and after exposure to the OS1 peptide, OneSkin scientists found that the OS1 peptide reverses skin's biological age by reducing the number of senescent cells by up to 50%. What more could you want in your skincare? OneSkin is the world's first skin longevity company. So by focusing on the cellular aspects of aging, OneSkin keeps your skin looking and acting younger for longer. Get started today with 15% off using code MESSY at oneskin.co. That's 15% off oneskin.co with code MESSY. After your purchase, they'll ask you where you heard about them. Please support our show and tell them we sent you.
I was going to ask you, I mean, obviously I know this, but for the people that are listening who don't have MS and don't have stuff like that, who have emotional pain, psychological pain, spiritual pain, that this goes without saying to go across the board for anyone who's listening that, this, as we always say, we have MS, but this isn't a podcast about that. It's about where we all need to kind of place attention. Yeah. And, so I just wanted our listeners to kind of get I think you're talking about all the things,
everything.
A painful relationship, a painful work environment, a painful childhood, all those things.
You're saying, because you don't want, it's not your identity. It's an experience, but it's not your identity. Your identity is an emanation of God. You are an individual emerged from the eternal. That's your identity. And then you have these experiences that you can place your attention around, but the medical system will label it.
Mm-hmm.
And so you have to come out of that without denying your experience. You have to come out of the label and watch it. This is, I worked with somebody a couple of years ago when my daughter brought it to my attention. It was a really close friend of ours, like a niece. And she had stage 4 cancer, and they were giving her like a few weeks to live and this and that. And so I had to go in and work with her. First of all, let me get to the end. She's fine now. She doesn't have any cancer. And
Okay, thank you.
You got to go through the whole story. But I had to work with her to disidentify with it. We had to move through her abandonment issues that she had. We had to shift up her nutrition a bit. We had to pray. But ultimately, her body healed itself as she let go of the label and realized that everything that was going on in her body temple was the condensation of all of these mental and emotional patterns that she had lived with, along with poor nutrition. And so yes, you're correct. It's with anything. There's pain. You're with it. You just don't label it as a disease. It's pain.
Yeah.
There's a inflexibility. There's whatever it is.
There's such comfort though, like in with me though too, it's like I have comfort in calling myself disabled. And I know that like by affirming that constantly, then that's my experience. I know these things, Michael.
Right.
I know that like that making jokes, but I have to make jokes sometimes, I have to.
Well, you're a comedian,
but it makes me laugh and it takes the onus off of it, kind of takes the power away from it a little bit for me. But
yes, that's part of your practice.
I wanted to mention something that you did for me in 2005 when I broke my foot doing Sweet Charity on Broadway. Mm-hmm. And you were the first person I called. Mm-hmm. And I'm like, I don't know what to do here because this is like the dream of all of us. It was the most important thing that had ever happened to me in my life at that time. And here I am with this very broken foot and they want me to get back up. And you said to me something so beautiful and simple. First of all, you said, write a list of gratitude and say those things out every single day. Mm-hmm. And then I want you to hear your doctor say, I've never heard anyone heal faster or seen heal faster in my medical career. Right. And I was like, okay. And I did every single day when I was going to the doctors at Harvard and all this stuff. I swear to God, it was Good Friday. And the doctor called me from my last x-ray and said, I've never seen anyone heal faster in my medical career.
And I came and saw you on Broadway.
Yeah, I know. And then you came and saw me with, oh my God, wait, you were with them.
Did Kathy Mack come?
It was Kathy Mack, but also Martin Luther King's child, like in my dressing room.
Martin Luther King the third. Yeah. We were all
the third.
Together.
Yeah. Wow. No, everyone was in my dressing room. It was beautiful. And, but that's, if it wasn't for that, honestly, I wouldn't have been able, I don't think I would have been able to do it because the doubt was in my mind because I was listening to the voices in my head, which are my biggest naysayers and my biggest enemies of the doctor saying at the hospital, oh, this is going to be 12 to 15 weeks.
Yeah.
Right.
You know what we did it in? 4.
Right.
I mean, it still wasn't completely healed, but man, it was good enough for me to get up. You
were able to kick up.
You would kick up, baby.
Kick up and sing up.
I was so excited when you were there because I was like, look at my bot ma. Michael, I got a look at that. I'm dancing. I'm dancing. You made me dance.
It was wild. And I was listening to you. I remember I said, I didn't know you had a voice that strong. I know you could sing, but it was like, my God.
Well, that was my fight. I had that fight in me, Michael. Yeah. I had that fight, not a fight in a negative way, but in the fight of like, no, I don't believe in this. I'm not buying into this. I'm not buying into what I'm being told about a broken foot. I believe that I was going to be a medical miracle. And it's like, yes, I was younger. Yes, it was all this. And now it's like
well, forget that. Yes, it's younger.
Yeah.
No, I know, but I get like,
but like you said, it's shifting. I like
give up sometimes,
but it's shifting that thinking, right? Where it's from why me to why not me.
Yes.
Like I cannot imagine the amount of miracles that you have been able to witness in your line of work. And we keep needing to be reminded of those. So Christina, maybe why not us? Maybe us pouring our hearts out into this podcast with the intention of just pure love and for all people struggling in all different ways will add to our own healing. I don't know, but I used to get angry at myself for still having hope for healing. And I, to be honest, had found myself in that space very recently. So I think that's also why this podcast in particular has meant so much to me, because I've really been praying for a change and praying for the inspiration that I needed. So thank you so much. I know not only behalf of me, but so many other people. And also I want to say, and I want you to listen to it too, Christina, I listen to your podcast all the time. And I just listened to your episode with Dr. Mark Hyman.
Oh, yes.
And it was really, I think diet and disease, I find with a lot of people can be really tricky because you feel like you're being given these like to-dos to heal, and you can already feel angry or frustrated that you're already living a limited life, and then you have to limit in other ways. But the way that you both explained all the contributing factors to our bodies and our well-being, it for the lack of better words, it just felt very empowering to hear and inspiring for me and the body's ability to heal itself.
Yeah, the body is such a beautiful mechanism, and the body can heal anything under the right conditions. Mm-hmm. So there's different layers of healing. That's why I said to Christina, write down some small things that you want to accomplish, and then angrily accept that for yourself, and then go. Don't just go to, I want my body to be healed. Why do you want your body to be healed? What is the why underneath this? What do you want to do with your life? If the body was healed, what would you be doing? So
I can tell you right now, Michael, I still belong to a tennis club, and
you want to play tennis?
I've been playing tennis for years until I started to have my symptoms, and I still pay dues at this tennis club. Uh-huh. There's that thing in me that's like, nope, I'm going to still pay the dues because I'm going to play tennis again. Like, I don't know what that is, but it's like my business manager was like, can we please stop paying the dues for a place you're not even going? And I'm like, nope, no, because it's no, I'm going to get up there, and I might not be running around like Billie Jean King, who I just met yesterday, FY, kind of obsessed. I just am like, I want to be on that court. I can see myself on the court. I want to be on the court.
Okay. Well, see, don't even tie that to MS. Just tie that to what you're going to be doing. In the process, your body will have a command to come to that level. As you said, see yourself playing tennis. See it. Why don't you see it every night? Just make that as a part of your homework. Okay. That you're going to wake up in the morning and you're going to actually see you playing tennis. You're running. You're hitting the ball back. See before you go to bed at night. Let that be the broadcast from your mind. You don't have to say, I'm going to heal MS, because we're not using that terminology right now. Right. You're saying, I'm going to play tennis again. And and work with that. And let the body respond to that larger vision, because you know what it feels like to play tennis. You know the emotion behind it. You know what joy it brings you. You know all of that. Get into that. Okay. You see, yeah. Even when you're in a low moment, come back and let that be your practice instead of being all religious and say, well, I'm going to sit here and meditate and be one with God. Just sit there and say, I am a great tennis player. I'm going to play tennis again.
I wasn't that good, but I loved it.
Yeah,
but no, I can.
But
no.
And then do you feel like the universe? So I'll share a quick story with you, because it felt to me like the universe giving a sign. So when I can allow myself to get into a deep meditation, the vision that I find myself in often is running on a beach with my 2 young boys.
Okay.
And it's I know what the feeling feels like. I know what I in every cell of my being. I know what that feels like. And whenever I come out of it, I think, who's to say that didn't just happen? That just happened for me in that moment. I just got to run with my boys in that moment. But my 10-year-old, like 3 weeks ago, out of nowhere, I think he saw me struggling physically and he looked at me and he goes, Mom, I can see the future. I said, can you? He said, yeah, in a couple of years, you're going to run down a beach with me and Jack. And I was like, I'm going to take this as my sign.
Yeah. You're taking that as a declaration, a decree, a prophecy.
Yeah.
You see, because you've been seeing it. Now your son sees it. Let your body catch up with it. So that becomes like homework. You remember, you've read how, like, I mean, I know a number of people who've done this, but I'll just say one that most people know about. You're like Joe Dispenza when he healed his spine.
Yeah.
You know that story, Christina, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Okay. I have another friend who was thrown through a plate glass window of a bus. His body was lacerated and he died. Actually, he was pronounced dead at UCLA. And the beings on the other side told him that he was going to walk again and he had some great things to do. And when he came back, they were going to amputate his legs and he fought them. And they brought in a psychologist to say that he was working against his own healing so that they could amputate his legs. But his mother, who was a yoga practitioner, heard him talking about the beings on the other side. And this was at UCLA. This was years ago. And they had a parapsychology department. She went over and got a healer from the parapsychology department, and he eliminated the pain. I'm giving you a short version. Eliminated the pain from the body. And every night he did certain exercises that this healer gave him. He grew another heel on his body.
What?
A heel. His body was totally messed up. And he grew it. He regrew it like a reptile does. He grew organs. He grew parts of his body that you're not supposed to grow back because we're human. We're not lizards.
Right.
Anyway, he goes
Some
to
people
Utah.
are, Michael. Some people are. Sorry.
Well, not those people.
Yeah, okay, there. Thank you. Sorry, part of our MS is, our podcast is me making inappropriate jokes while other people are having really amazing moments.
We are protected from the reptilians.
From the lizard people.
The lizard people.
Now, so he sent a video back of himself hiking in Utah back to the doctor that was trying to amputate his legs. So the body can do miraculous things under the right condition. So you guys have homework. You're going to see yourself running on the beach. You're going to see yourself playing tennis, but you're going to get into the emotion of it. You're going to feel it. And when you're angry about it, you're going to use the anger. You're going to use it to affirm your goal, your dream, or whatever it is that you're trying to manifest at that particular time. You're not going to slough it off. You're actually going to use it. Emotional backed affirmations and let the body do its thing. Like when Joe Dispenza, when he tells his story, when he spoke at Agape before, and he has really great work that he does. He looked at his spinal cord with his anatomy chart every single day, seeing that it would heal, and finally was able to do it where he didn't have any negative thought about it. Because the ego will come up, the negative will come up.
The doubt and all that stuff.
Your doubt, your body can't do this. This is impossible. The doctor said this is never going to happen. He just did it every day until finally he could believe it, and then his body responded, and the rest is his story. The rest is history.
There you go.
But I'll say this: it takes work.
Yeah.
You gotta do it like a job, like you're going on to work every day.
Yeah.
I was working with a friend of mine who had cancer, and I was working with him. He eventually passed over. He didn't want to do the work. I said, do you really want to live? That's what I said to the woman that had stage 4. I said, do you really want to be healed? For real. I mean, not just, I want to be healed. And she said, yes. I said, okay, I'll work with you. And she did all the work. And she was a part of a cancer survivor group, and not a cancer support group of 7 women. She's the only one that lived out of the 7. So I had to work through, survivor guilt with her because she was having a relapse because all her friends had died. And now she's great. She's fine. But it's work, the mind. You have to work with it.
The mind
And
can
so-
be so tricky, Michael. It really is tricky to me because I go like, well, these are the stats. Here are the stats of,
Okay, so read testimonies.
But I know that's the thing.
know.
I needed you here more than you didn't know today. Like I can't.
Read testimonies of people who have a level of happiness and joy. You talk about not just talking about the body. I mean, when you read Viktor Frankl, the man's meaning,
I'm unaware of that. For our listeners who aren't aware, would you explain, please?
He was the gentleman who survived Holocaust, and he discovered that he could have his own attitude independent of what he was going through. It's a very powerful book. And so he proved that he could have his own attitude regardless of the violence and the mayhem and the killing that was happening. His attitude was independent of that. And that became a part of psychology, that you can choose your own attitude and build upon it, regardless of the condition. And then your life will follow. Free your mind and your assets will follow.
Mm-hmm. Is that kind of like what you're saying when you were in meditation, and to witness the pain as opposed to feeling a victim to the pain, an awareness that you're not defined by it. You can detach yourself from.
Yeah, you don't put a name to it. You don't call it MS. You call it pain. And you watch it. You become aware of it. You embrace it. You rock it, and that pain will change because it's energy, and there's something called the observer effect. Scientifically, the observer effect says that anything you observe changes on a subatomic level just based on observation. That's proven. It's quantum. It's real. So if you put the observer effect on steroids, meaning you observe the pain, but you're also holding the picture of you running on the beach. Mm-hmm. You're observing the pain, but you're also holding another picture of something good. You're having the observer effect. You're not denying the pain. You're watching it, but you're also placing a higher intention there. Does that make sense?
Yes.
100%.
Yes,
yeah, but it's work. It's work. It's work.
It's work.
Yeah.
Support for the Messy podcast comes from Viore.
We've said it before.
And we'll say it again.
Mm-hmm. We love Viore.
Especially the oregano vilipin. I don't have.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Listen, it's not your traditional old workout gear, okay? It's versatile. It's comfortable. It's designed to look great in everyday life. It's perfect for a workout or an activity. What activities do we do, Christina?
Lay in bed.
Yep. Walking to and from the bathroom.
The toilet. Sometimes down the stairs, but gosh darn it, do I look and feel comfortable in my view.
Right. They're one of my favorite websites.
They really are good.
To peruse. Is that a word? Like to peruse their website?
Peruse.
You're my word girl.
Correct. Yes.
I like to peruse their website because they make it very easy to find the products that you want, very easy to order from the website. And you can feel good, by the way, about the things that you buy and how they're made, because Viore offsets 100% of their carbon footprint.
Oh, and you know what? While you're perusing, then you can pursue the oregano vilipant in medium.
Mm-hmm. If you want to just match your messy sisters.
Yeah.
Here's
the thing. You meet the pants you're never going to want to take off, guys.
That's right. Are you talking about the performance joggers?
I am. It's slim. It's relaxed, slightly cropped leg, side pockets, and a drawstring designed with the softest premium dream knit. That's trademarked. Hello.
Yep. And, and my hubby, Mr. Cutter, he loves the men's core short. It's the one short for every sport. The core short has this classic athletic fit, falling just above the knee with an anywhere and everywhere versatility. You can go commando in it too with confidence because it has a breathable boxer brief liner. Viore is an investment in your happiness. So for our listeners, they are offering 20% off your first purchase. Get yourself some of the most comfortable and versatile clothing on the planet at viore.com/messy. That's VUORI.com/messy.
Okay, so not only will you receive 20% off your first purchase, but enjoy free shipping on any U.S. orders over $75 and free returns. You're not going to have to return because you're going to live in them. So go to Vuori.com/messy and discover the versatility of Vuori clothing. Messy is sponsored by BetterHelp.
I love my therapist. I don't know. Well, I do know where I'd be without her, and I don't want to be there. Okay. It's greatly benefited me in times when I'm not doing great and also times when I'm doing great. Okay. I think that the stigma about therapy is out the window. Or if you're thinking about starting therapy, why don't you give BetterHelp a try?
Yeah. Because you know what? If you think that therapy is like because we have issues, you're a dumb. You're just a dumb.
There you go. I learned that in therapy.
Did she say you're a dumb?
Yep. She said they're dumb. Listen, BetterHelp's entirely online. It's designed to be convenient, flexible, and suited to your schedule. All you have to do is fill out this brief questionnaire. You get matched with a licensed therapist, and you can switch therapists, by the way, anytime for no additional charge.
Stop comparing. Start focusing with BetterHelp. Visit BetterHelp.com/messy today to get 10% off your first month. That is BetterHelp, HELP.com/messy.
I always hear about acceptance, right? And an acceptance of all circumstances, right? Isn't that kind of what And So It is as well as like creates the space, creates the energy, the possibility. It is a lot of this emotionally backed, what's it called again? Emotionally backed
affirmations.
Does that get you to acceptance, or is acceptance something that you have to work at along with that? Because I think that a lot of people, any sort of trauma in their lives, it's sometimes it's really hard to accept.
Well, acceptance is not going into wishful thinking that whatever you're going through is not happening.
Mm-hmm.
You know, if someone stole money from you, that happened. It's not, I wish I wouldn't have left my purse there. It happened. If, you know, whatever. So acceptance is, that happened. There's nothing I can do about it, about that, the past. Okay. Now, then with acceptance, you can open yourself to the possibility of healing. You can open up the possibility of getting a great lesson, a great blessing out of it. But you have to accept it first. You know, if someone's going through a divorce, you know, no, I don't want to get a divorce. I wish I hadn't said this, or I wish they hadn't done that. We wouldn't be good. No, you have to accept it. It's over. That relationship is over that way. And then once acceptance happens, then you can start to harvest the good, you know, and then you forgive everything else. You know, those are the three sages: acceptance, harvest the good, forgiveness. So you're not accepting that for the rest of your life, you're not going to be happy. Mm-hmm. You're not accepting that for the rest of your life, you're not going to have joy, mobility. You're not accepting you're not accepting that, but you are accepting that right now, this is what's going on.
Right.
Now,
and I was going to ask you, what do I do when like my head goes, who are you fucking fooling? Like, you know, yes. Like my head does this to me. And it's like,
what's the title of my podcast?
Who the fuck are you fooling?
Take your mind back.
Just kidding.
Take back your mind.
Yeah.
Yep.
Because it's that loud
mind
noise.
Is programmed.
Yeah.
It's programmed by society. It's programmed by national propaganda. It's programmed by religiosity. It's programmed by collective beliefs. It's all programmed, but most of that programming you didn't do.
Right.
So in taking back your mind, you're programming your own mind. So when the mind's starting to go crazy, you say, no. Use your emotionally backed affirmation. Take it back. This is my mind. It's not yours. Those thoughts, that's not mine. I am taking back my mind. And I am angrily saying, I am and will be happy. I will be in joy. I will be creative. I'm going to play tennis again. You know,
yes.
You take
and
it
that
back.
releases you from beating yourself up too, Christina, because it's not your fault why your mind goes that way, like he's saying. Like, so also gives yourself the opportunity to give yourself grace for where your mind's going. Because I think that's where we can get, at least I know I get caught in that loop, because then I get down on myself for thinking a certain way.
Absolutely. You start to beat yourself up. Yeah. This is not about guilt or shame or self-flagellation. You know, it's about looking at something square in the face, acceptance, and then taking back your mind so that you're programming your own mind.
Yeah. I just like when you gave that gift to me when I was doing charity.
Yeah.
It was like a house on fire. The way that I focused on healing.
You did.
The way I focused and doubtful thoughts would come through. And, I have my tools being in the spiritual community that I've been in for my entire life. But, with you, it was like there was like this mission. It was like a mission. And it wasn't like.
That's what I'm talking about.
It was my mission.
Yeah.
But it's like now I'm like, I'm such an a-hole.
Well, because you had Broadway. You had the stakes right there. You're not feeling any of those.
I have a daughter. She's my stakes.
There you go.
Well, make that a mission. Make that a mission and shapeshift young Christina to this Christina. Just shapeshift that energy. Remember her. Remember that fire and bring that fire to today. Doesn't matter. You're timeless. You're ageless. You take back your mind where age is concerned, where chronological age is concerned. You take back your mind on all of that.
But I'm wearing diapers, Michael.
So
I've gone back to the beginning.
Sorry. You're so young.
You're an infant. Okay, now we can start there.
Yeah.
We want to let you go because I know you've had a day and your whole life is this, but this is a favor that we really kind of wanted to ask. Well, first of all, you might not want to talk about this, but my favorite story about you is how, you know what I'm going to say.
I really don't.
How God came into your life and why and where you were. And you had a book in a certain place with a person with a mallet. What were you doing, Michael?
You're talking about my court case.
Yeah. Because why? Why did you have a court case, Michael?
Well, okay.
My favorite story. He's told this publicly, so I'm not outing him, by the way.
No, absolutely. No, I love who I was. I love who I am. You know, I was attending USC. I was a psychobiology major. I was my plan was to go to med school. And two things were going on simultaneously. One, I was paying for SC by a nice little cottage industry of selling weed. And before it was legal, now it's not a big deal. I don't even say drugs. It was cannabis sativa. And I was having these spiritual experiences that I thought were coming from the weed. I thought it was pathological. So I stopped smoking weed and the experiences intensified.
Wow.
I was leaving my body. I was having visions. A lot was happening. And I thought I was losing my mind. I was in the psychology department at SC. I was a senior there. And so I stopped smoking weed. On my last deal for marijuana, it's the only time I ever had weed in my house, because I always had a stash house that somebody that ran it for me. But he was out of town. So I had like 200 pounds of weed come to my house. And I'm sitting there in the living room. The guy name is Kenny. I'm sure he doesn't mind me saying this. And I said, this is my last drug deal. I'm not doing this anymore. This is not my destiny. I started off just doing it a little bit just to get mine for free. And it's built into this big industry. I have people working for me in Nashville, Atlanta, New York, Chicago, LA. It's like I'm making tons of money. And working at a store and going to a full-time student at USC. So I'm sitting there in the living room and something goes through my solar plexus. And I said, we got to leave. And he says, why? I said, I don't know why. So we leave and the police run me off the road and they check my car and there's no weed in there. They check and they say, well, where do you live? And I gave them the address of my mother's house where I had on my license. I said, I live down there. Anyway, long story short, they checked all these houses on one side of the street and found the weed, brought me in there and arrested and took me down to the Rampart police station. They didn't arrest me. They took me down and handcuffed me. They then went and got a search warrant and came back and brought me where the weed was and then arrested me there. These are parts of the story you probably don't know about.
No, I don't think you did this whole story on the pulpit. So, but you have talked about this on the pulpit. For sure.
I did not tell the full story.
Well, now we've got it.
Anyway,
it's an exclusive.
So before that, I had a spiritual awakening in which I was killed in a lucid dream and I died. And when I woke up, I could see differently. I could see the presence of love and beauty and intelligence everywhere. Whew. If I start talking about it, I'll get emotional about it because it's so real. God is so real to me. And I just had to discover what had happened to me. And that sent me on my path spiritually. So now I'm sitting in court. I tell all of my friends I'm walking away free. And they thought I'd lost my mind. They said, Michael's freaked out on Jesus. They told me to leave SC because I'm going to spend X amount of years in jail for the weed. I'm going to spend X amount of jails for the federal prison because I had guns. And I said, I'm not having anything. I'm walking free. And I sat in court and I was reading one little book on meditation. I had no interest in the case. And the assistant, I had an attorney. I hired the best attorney that there was in LA at the time. And his assistant was quizzing the motorcycle cop that wasn't even there. And he was saying to the motorcycle cop, why did you go to this man's house? He said, well, the informant told us that there was a big drug deal going on. So we got a search warrant. We staked out the house. And we saw Mr. Beckwith and this other gentleman come into the house. Oh, we raided it and we found the weed and we arrested him. You know, they lied, but it didn't matter. The assistant attorney jumps up and he says, that's hearsay evidence. We demand that the informant come, stand before the accused and identify Mr. Beckwith as that person. And the judge said, we need the informant here within 3 days. We come back 3 days later and the prosecutor says, Your Honor, the informant will not come. He says he's afraid for his life. He doesn't want to be a snitch. And the judge says, I have no other recourse. Mr. Beckwith, you are free to go. I hope I never see you in my courtroom again. I said, Your Honor, you never will. I left court. I went home. The wind was blowing and the weather vane was pointing in the direction of the wind. And I said, God, if this means what I think it means for my life and my destiny, I want that weather vane to point in my direction against the wind. Before I could finish the sentence, the weather vane pointed right at me. And I started crying and I fell to my knees and I surrendered my life to the presence of God. I said, do with me what you will. That attorney that questioned that police officer was Robert Shapiro.
Oh my God.
Oh my God. I didn't know. That part I definitely didn't know.
He was the young assistant to the attorney by the name of Harry Weiss. Wow. And for months, the police officers tailed me. And they went to so many meditation retreats. They went to so many psychics, Buddhists, you know, because they just figured I was going to be in the game. But I was totally out. And I'll tell you one more miracle if you're interested.
Yeah, we could pretty much listen to you all day, Revy.
Yeah.
So I'm in me and Celeste, the mother of my children, my wife at the time, we have a little duplex. And so I'm not doing anything anymore. I don't even smoke, nothing. And all of a sudden there's a fire in our kitchen. And the blaze is just coming out of the kitchen. So we had to pick up my son and run out of the house, you know, with blankets so we wouldn't get burned. Called the fire department. The fire department came and doused the flames. So now I have to stay at my parents' house for a while until insurance adjusters come to assess the damage and, you know, so we could have the money to repair the house. So they come and there's no evidence of any fire at all. There's smoke damage, but nothing is burned. The fire department and the insurance agent is saying there's no evidence of any fire. There's no fire. We see where there's smoke has been here, but nothing's been burned. The only damage was the water damage from the fire department putting out the fire. So that was a miracle because all the people that had been coming in my house for a while thought I had moved because there was a yellow tape around my house from the fire. So those weeks that I stayed at my dad and mom's house, you know, eventually the insurance paid money. We got brand new carpet, brand new paint job, brand new everything. It was a brand new house for my brand new life.
Wow.
From a fire that didn't burn anything. You know, it was amazing. And that was just the beginning of a whole lot of miracles that took place in my life that really serves me today. Because whenever I'm in a tough spot around anything, any challenges coming up, I'm aware for real that there's a power and a presence and a love that's bigger than anything, because I've seen it operate so many times in my life, in the life of people, that's more real to me than the chairs we're sitting on. So when I speak and anywhere, it's that's the energy that's speaking. It's like, I know this. I didn't read this in a book. I read books later that verified, what happened to me. So yeah, I sold weed, and it gave me one of the biggest miracles of my life.
Wow. Thank you so much for sharing that.
I love you. You know that, Big Papa. I love you so much.
You've been calling me Big Papa.
I call him Dad.
Big Papa. Wait a minute, before Biggie was even in existence.
Yeah.
Way before, even born. We're gonna wrap up because we've taken enough of your time. But I was gonna ask you a huge favor, Rev. Sure. Would you do a prayer with us for our listeners? A general something, because as you know now, that we end every episode by saying, and so it is. So
it is. Yes.
I think that it's like people write us in comments. They're like, thank you so much for what you're doing. And then at the end, they always go and so it is. It's become now something that we're sharing from you and from, and so it is, you're
going to have a whole group of people tattooing, and so it is.
I hope
and you know what? Let's do it. We can actually do rub-ons. We're going to do rub-ons too.
Yeah, we wanted to make temporary.
It means
ones,
it's done. It means
it's done.
That's right.
It's happening right now, and that's the power of manifestation. You have to feel that it's happening now. You have to reprogram your mind and emotional body and feel that it's happening right now, and then that or something better shows up.
Well, to our beautiful listeners, if you're walking, maybe stop. If you're driving, drive.
Pause it,
pull over. Mm-hmm. Take a deep breath and listen to the words of my mentor and my dearest friends, and the Reverend Michael Bernard Beckwith.
Very good. So we're stopping this moment. We extricate our attention. We pull our attention away from the world for a moment, the world of effects, circumstances, people, places, and things. And we feel a deep sense of gratitude for anything at all. Whether it is infinitesimally small or gigantic, we just allow for ourselves to just feel grateful for anything, that we exist. And in this consciousness of gratitude and thanksgiving, our perceptual windows are clean and cleared, and we recognize that there's a presence of love and beauty and intelligence, life itself called by millions of names that I'm calling forth as the activity of our individual and collective awareness. I recognize the presence. That's never an absence. I feel so at one with this presence that I can proclaim that my life is an emanation of the presence, and the very word that I'm speaking is its law. A law unto itself that only knows its own unfolding and knows no obstacle nor hindrance. I speak the word for each and every one of us, as Jamie and Christina are the lightning rods of this word for everyone that is tuning in right now and listening. I know that where we are, the presence of love and beauty and intelligence is, and that this divine presence is coursing through our spiritual veins right now, and that every organ, action, function of our body temple is hearing this power of this word and is bending itself and its reality to the power of this word, and that wholeness and the revelation of right action and healing and well-being is reigning supreme. And this includes mental clarity, emotional purity, physical wellness, financial good. All of this is encapsulated in this word that is being spoken, and this word is serving right now as a law of elimination of anything that would hinder, delay, obstruct, or deny the fullness of life from moving through us right now. And all of this is happening now. We have set something in motion. Now. Perfect healing, wholeness, wellness, and well-being. Now. In every area of our life. Now. I give thanks that this is so. Therefore, I can say unequivocally, and so it is.
And so it is.
now and forever.
And so it is.
Now and forever.
Amen
Amen.
and Ashe.
Ashe.
So be it.
This show is executive produced by Christina Applegate, Jamie-Lynn Siegler, and Allison Bresnick. Our audio engineer is Josh Windish.
And if you want to show us some love, don't forget to leave the show a rating or review. Hi, it's Jamie. Thanks for listening. I just want to let you know I am a paid spokesperson for Novartis, but this podcast is independent from my collaboration with Novartis.